Hello and welcome to today's LOL Esports Roundup. We're going to cover the games from this morning in the LPL and preview Thursday's slate in the LPL and LCK. We went 0-2 today on my prediction, so I'm 50-26 on the year across the four major regions. Now I'm no longer live viewing in the morning, so I'm watching these games two times, so the recap may not be as in-depth as it was before, more stat-based and more just generalizations of seeing what is going on. Thunder Talk and Team We. Thunder Talk 0-1, Team We 1-1. We win 2-0. World Elite was led by Shanks, going 13-2-11, 30% of damage, was MVP. Hope 11-3-7. UCal 6-3-7, 31% of damage for Thunder Talk. So, game. How do I put this? I'm really, really shocked by how poorly Thunder Talk are playing. Obviously, I said it last week, dropping them out of my top 25, that it was like, okay, they're dead to me now. Their roster formation isn't great. But I thought that they had the edge in draft in game two, especially. I think Jace was just buffed. Jace is pretty strong. Gwen top looks pretty strong, actually, into Kesante. And I mean, team we had Renekton in game two, so I thought, Hoya should have the advantage there. And then the bot lane also had a very good situation with Zeri Yumi and couldn't get it done. Um, and Wanfang is trying his best, but he can't 1v9 the game. And Hope with Iwandi is getting the edge in bot lane, getting leads, and is able to push them. Hang did much better than Beshwan today. And obviously Shanks versus UCal. Like, UCal isn't the reason they lost. Dealt a good amount of damage, led the team, didn't die a lot. So what else really can you ask of them, especially on a Jace? Like, there was a moment at the end of game two where Thunder Talk actually put together a fight that almost actually turned game two as they defended their base. And, Shanks, like slapped their hand away and slapped their wrist and said, absolutely not, we're ending the game here. And we are looking pretty good. A young team. I still think Bubi was sus. Shanks, though, a young player, is getting better. Hang is looking solid. And Hope is okay with Iwandi. I mean, Hope's doing his job. 11-3-7 is plenty. Is he JDG Hope? I mean, he hinted a lot with JDG, but is this JDG? No, but he's doing solid. As team, we are 2-1. Thunder Talk are 0-2. Anyone's Legend and Ultra Prime, AL 0-2, Ultra Prime 0-1, Ultra Prime win 2-1, Doggo 10-1-15, 36% of damage, Baolon 1-5-23 alongside him, Betty, 6-5-9, 28% of damage. Game 3, Harry did very well in the Jason in top lane. I almost made him MVP. But Doggo showed up in a big way in the mid to late game and really solidified that one. Ning as well. Ning played very good on the Sejuani. Stealing a Drake that they needed in game 3 to continue their stacking. It was clear that they had an idea of how they wanted to play the game. King and mid did well for Ultra Prime also. Got the better of Pins. Pins played Akali twice. I'm not a big Akali guy. I'm really not. And really, I mean, he played. I don't know which one's picked first. I don't recall draft exactly if Akali was the counter or if King picked Zoe into Akali. But regardless, I think Pin Z, they're called Pin Z, only had like 8,000 damage in game one. Was very, very irrelevant. And it's unfortunate because I thought that maybe he'd be an upgrade to them over Harder, and that's still possible. This is only his first series. But at the same time, it was not against a tough opponent in Ultra Prime. ZDZ looked good at times, other times kind of meh. In that top lane matchup against Harry, a matchup where you'd hope that he would win, but at the same time, the book isn't really out on Harry yet at the LPL level. Zhao Hao getting beaten by Ning isn't a surprise. The bot lane was very standard, though. Lucian Nami and Zeri Yumi, maybe even a Zeri Lulu in there. Very standard bot lanes. It seemed that the mid lane was getting all the attention, hence why Zoe was picked. We haven't seen much Zoe at all this year. I don't know, maybe that might have been the first Zoe in the four major regions. When I do my patch file to keep updating it for 13.1, I'll know that. But at the same time, Um, you know, you'd like more out of Pinsy in his first series. But anyone's legend 0-3 now. I mean, you see teams doing teardowns. IG last year, Team Wii last year and this year, and just like LGD, Rare Atom, and stuff like that. And I think anyone's legend needs to tear down. I don't know why they still have Betty and Southwind. They really don't need them. Um, not Betty and Southwind, Betty and Sword Art. I don't think that they're much better than a couple 19-year-olds, 18-year-olds that you can pick up off of free agency. Could have brought in from the LDL and had an opportunity. And because really, like, these guys aren't, like, Betty is doing okay, like 6.59 across 3 games, but that's not nearly enough. Last year, Betty was in a similar state, and I think you need a young player there that has the potential to maybe, like, has the 1v9 capability, where Betty really, really doesn't have that. Now for the sneak peek tomorrow, we have these power rankings. Power ranking video came out earlier today, by the way. Top performers video will come out tomorrow. So these are updated. IG 12th in the power rankings at 2-0. EDG 17th 1-0. IG coming off of a 2-0 win against RNG before the break. EDG 2-0 against World Elite. Week 3, Day 3 of Summer, EDG would win 2-1. 3 out of the 10 players from that series are in the series tomorrow. Mako, JJ, Mako for EDG, and On for IG. So there's no overlap. Mako had the best scoreline, going 2-3-37. YSKM and Ale is the matchup we all want to see. Every person that voted on the Discord that chose to vote picked that matchup. YSKM obviously is taking the LPL by storm. Kind of similarly how people feel about Bo in the LEC. It's just like, oh my God, this guy is so hype. We must watch, I would say must watch. It's must watch television, but it's not television, so must watch VOD or something. I don't know, must watch stream. But, like, YSCam is cracked. And this IG team's having fun with their walk-ins and stuff. I mean, I'm not a big walk-ins guy. I think the first series, you do your walk-ins, you kind of show some personality. But after that, I think you need to kind of focus on winning. And Dove's done fine. Dove and Fofo, that could be a wash. The bot lane. I mean, On and Wink have played well. Leave and Mako have played well. So I think this series is going to be a good one. I really do. RNG and LNG. RNG 7th, LNG 14th. RNG 1-1, LNG 1-0. RNG I'm keeping in the top 8 until Angel plays. Angel's not playing tomorrow. So that's unfortunate. RNG lost to IG 2-0. LNG beat Thundertalk 2-0. The last time these two teams played was the regional finals to decide who would be the 4th seed going to Worlds. RNG would win 3-2. They started that series 2-0. LNG won the next 2 and then couldn't complete the reverse sweep. 4 out of 10 players from that series are in the series tomorrow. Way and Breathe for RNG. And Tarzan. Is it 4 and 10? Oh, it's Breathe, Way, and Gala. And then LNG, it is Tarzan. So the overlap is Jungle. Way would go 3, 8, and 29 in those 5 games. Tarzan 7, 11, and 13. 6 out of 9 people that voted felt similarly that the Jungle matchup was the one to watch. Originally, I voted Angel versus Scout, but Angel not playing. Obviously, this then becomes the matchup, because really Tangwan looked like he got kind of exposed against IG. In the same time, RNG, first series RNG were very RNG. Like, I was excited in the stream. I was like, these guys are playing like RNG of old. Like, it's just going to be a carryover. They're going to play the same way. And it doesn't put a lot of pressure on mid lane playing Galio and Talia and Rise, and just facilitate, be a facilitator. However, in the series against IG, they gave Tangwan like Syndra and things like that and tried to have him like carry the lane, and I think that was a mistake. He is an LDL mid in the end. So hopefully they go back to where they were before, with Tangwan tomorrow. I do see a lot of people surprised that Ming is not on RNG's team, and I've been saying all along, it looked to me like Ming was a free agent, and everyone's like, oh no, he said he's coming back after Chinese New Year, this and that. And it's like, no, that doesn't look like how this timeline's going. It looks like Ming is saying, no, I am not. I'm a free agent. don't believe what RNG's saying. They're thinking that because I don't have a job, I'm going to go back to them, which just shows how, like, I guess it just shows how Ming actually feels about RNG right now, that he'd rather be unemployed. And maybe he's making more streaming, who knows. RNG are an org that has a little bit of a murky past when it comes to paying players and stuff. So maybe he feels he was wronged or something along the way, or in these negotiations that he just had. So that should even out the bot lanes a bit. I mean, Gala's still better than LP and Hung, but at the same time, Bunny is not as good as Hung. Bunny is not very good. So RNG are in a position, maybe they should go after Lamau or something off of the trash heap and play with him, or Chow Chow or something. Honestly, I saw Chow Chow post on Twitter, or must have seen the post on Twitter that somebody had screenshotted from Weibo, how Chow Chow said, I'm a former 80 carry, role swap to support, and with all these 80 carries in support, it might be worth picking me up. Honestly, might be an upgrade over Bunny. I'm not saying that we're in dire straits here with the support situation of RNG. Like, people are going to say, those guys kind of suck. It's like, yeah, well, does Bunny suck? Okay, we're in the same boat here. LCK, Nongshim, and Sandbox. Sandbox 20th in my power rankings, 3-1. Nongshim 1-3. Nongshim Red Force beat DRX 2-1 last time they were on the Rift. Sandbox lost to beat Bro 2-1. Sorry. Week 7, Day 2 of Summer, Nongshim would win 2-1. Only 2 holdovers from that series, both for Sandbox. Closer and Kale. Closer went 6, 7, and 9 in the loss. Nongshim obviously swapping out everybody from that roster. That was very disappointing. Reminiscent of this year's DRX in that way. You have 5 players that are veterans. Didn't get the job done. By no means. DN and Birdall is a matchup I highlighted. 4 out of 6 voters agree. 2 young players. These are 2 young teams, and we're going to gauge how they are and where they're at. Sandbox coming off of some big wins that were really surprising. HLE, and then another win against a young team in Bro in some areas. And both these teams are in similar spots. I mean, Nongshim has 5 players that are coming up from Challenger, except Peter, I guess. And Sandbox Birdall was a sub, Willer was a sub, Closer obviously played, Cal played, but Envy didn't play at all last year, really. So it's a close one. I think that this will be a very fun series to watch. There's a lot of storylines there that will be interesting, especially on the top side of the Rift with the young players there. And then the best series of the day is Gen G 6th in the power rankings, D plus Kia 2nd. Both of them have lost to T1. They're both 3-1. D plus just losing to T1 on Saturday. Gen G losing to them on opening day. Gen beat HLE 2-1 last time they were on the Rift, and like I said, D plus lost to T1 2-1. These 2 teams have been battling at the top of the LCK standings for years. Definitely in different places now, especially you look at the bot lane and the age difference between the 80 carries. You can see that there's a big difference there. It's almost a decade. D plus are in a position where, hey, we're still in the now, where Gen are kind of like, we're good enough to be in the now. They're playing like they're in the now. But at the same time, they have an eye on the future, which is a nice position to be in, where you're like, and have an eye for the future, but at the same time are like, oh, we're really competitive, which can set some, expectations that might be a little unrealistic. You look at T1 the last year or so with the young players they have, obviously not including Faker, and you see how well they're doing, and the expectations become sky high, but then they get in the big moments for the first time and they crap the bed. And it's like, okay, well, that happens. They're young players. Like, people in high pressure situations for the first time sometimes crap the bed. That happens. I mean, I feel like there's so many people that give these players crap over it, and it's like they probably shake in front of their, college classroom giving a presentation and get scared and, talking to somebody on the street or talking to, somebody they might have interest in, but yet they think that these guys are supposed to be like statues up there and be able to be robots, and it's just not the case. So with Gen G and Pays, circling back to this, not to go on a rant or a tangent like I just did, but Pays, there is some grace that needs to be given, and he's played well so far, but this is a test. Deft and Callan have played very well. He's against Canyon, arguably the best jungler in the world. Some people would consider the best jungler of all time. So this is going to be a real, real series. Week 8, day 3 of summer was the last time they played. Gen would win 2-1. 6 out of the 10 players from that series are in the series tomorrow. Chovy went 8-5-16. Showmaker 10-4-19 in that one. So both players played very, very well. Showmaker slightly better based on those stats, but I'm not looking at in-depth and looking at 15 splits and things like that. So it could be the opposite if I look at laning phase. But regardless, Chovy and Showmaker, 9 out of 11 people agree. Obviously, Canyon and Peanut's going to be fun as well. Top lane, Kana and Doran should be, I think that should be even. I would be a little concerned about Doran getting solo killed by King a couple times in the last time he was out on the Rift, but I don't think Kana, I think that should be just a wash. In the jungle, I'm giving it to Canyon. Mid, I'd give it to Chovy. We'll see how the draft goes. And in bot lane, it's probably being given to D+ right now. But at the same time, like I said, Gen G played very well. There's nothing to be... I mean, if they lost 2-1 tomorrow or something, it would be nothing to be ashamed of. I'm not dropping them out of the top, 10 of the power rankings, because they're losing to the teams that are above them. Playing close, so not getting blown out. I mean, they did lose to T1 2-0. But the manner in which they lost was not a blowout by any means. But, if they can be competitive and good against D+, that's a good spot to be in with a young bot lane that we did not expect a lot out of, right? So, that's a thing. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, like it. Subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content. Follow me on Twitter. Join the Discord. Become a YouTube member. And thank you for watching.